guys, it's Brittany Johnson, and today I'm going to show you a plyometric training routine for a college water polo team. One of the benefits of utilizing plyometric training is that it's been shown to increase muscle force and muscle power. This is a really important factor in training for water polo because you have to have so much force and power to move through the water resistance, as well as a lot of force and power to tread up and pass, to tread up and shoot as well, are really important to make sure that that athlete has power and strength. So plyometric training is going to be really beneficial for a water polo team. Now I'm going to show you a couple examples and talk about some cues about these different drills. One thing to note is that it's always important to do a proper warm-up. Good warm-ups for plyometric training are things like jogging or things like marching. That will all be very beneficial in helping warm up that athlete. One thing is huge about safety with plyometric training, and that has to do with landing. So proper landing is important in plyometric training to prevent any type of injury from occurring, especially when we're doing that lower body movement. So instead of actually going through this coaching cue for every single drill with the lower body, I'm going to go ahead and talk about it now instead of talking about it through every single drill. So I'll show you from the side first. When we land, because it's so much weight coming down, we want to make sure that we are in proper alignment. So proper landing here is going to be making sure that our shoulders are over our knees, and then our knees are actually over our toes. So that's going to help prevent any type of injury from occurring. I'm going to show you from the front here. Again, we want to make sure that our knees are in alignment with our ankles and our toes. We don't want to have our knees coming in, and then we don't want to have our knees bowed out here. So landing technique, that's going to be the coaching cue for every single drill that we're talking about with these lower body movements. Another thing to note before we get started is to make sure you have a proper landing surface. So we want to have something that's shock absorbent. So let's say something along the lines of grass versus concrete or hardwood floors, because it's not going to be able to absorb the weight coming down. So these are a couple of items that are important to talk about and incorporate in a plyometric training session. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the appropriate plyometric training for a water polo team. So let's get started. Alright, so the first move that we're going to do for this plyometric training is going to be the jump and reach. Now this is a stand-in-place jump, and the benefit behind this is to really get that vertical elevation. Additionally, you are going to be using your arms to reach, and that's really beneficial for the water polo player when it comes to trying to block any type of a shot, especially for the goalie, because that's one of their main things. They're coming up vertically using their arms to block any type of shots. So this will be a really beneficial drill to incorporate into the training program. So basically how we're going to set it up, you will need a partner. So here we have a box and then some type of object that I'm going to actually reach for. One thing to note is while we're jumping, we don't want to be moving forward or moving back. We want to try to stay in that same place as much as possible. There's going to be no breaks in between jumps. It's going to be consistent. So how we're going to set this up, my partner is holding an object. I'm going to stand shoulder width apart, and I'm going to start in that counter movement. I'm going to explode and accelerate up and try to reach that object. Again, proper landing technique. So we're going to go ahead and demonstrate this now. Okay, so that is going to be the jump and reach. Again, common cueing here is making sure that that jump is continuous. Try not to pause at the bottom. And it's really about that rapid force that's important to make it that plyometric drill, and really stretching and reaching for that object. So that is going to be the jump and reach. Okay, the second plyometric drill is going to be the side step. Now this is a bound type of plyometric drill, and this is going to be beneficial for more of the horizontal movement, which is, again, really important in water polo because of swimming, going around defenders. We want to make sure that we can get that horizontal plane movement. Another benefit of this drill is that you're using opposite legs, so it's not going to be that double jump. And that's going to be a very similar movement to the egg beater or when you're treading in water. So being able to get that power in the individual leg is really important as well. How we're going to set up this exercise is standing shoulder width apart And we're actually going to bring one of our legs, we're going to flex our hip and our knee at about 90-degree angle. So I can turn to the side here and show you. So we have that 90 degrees in our hip and in our knee. And what we're going to do is we're basically going to start in that counter movement. The opposite arm is going to come up from the leg, and then we're just going to hop to that other side. So it's going to be a quick step. I'll show you from the front. Again, explosive power. So that's really going to be able to get those hips moving, kind of mimic that treading. So that's going to be a really beneficial plyometric drill for a water polo team. Okay, our third exercise here is the lateral push off. This is going to be a box drill. So we can increase the intensity of this exercise very easily by increasing the actual step size or the height of the box. Because our athletes are advanced here, we're going to use a little bit higher box. What the benefit of this is going to be an increased intensity, increasing that muscle force. And again, we're only using that one leg, which helps to be able to get those legs dominant for when we're treading that water. Pretty easy to set up here. What we're going to do is we're going to place our one foot up on the box, and you're going to make sure that your foot is pretty close to the edge here. And then all we're going to do is we're going to basically start in that counter movement. We're going to push off with the leg that's on the box, reaching and jumping. And when we come down and land, our foot that's on the box should land just slightly before the foot that lands on the actual ground. This is a little bit higher intensity, so instead of it being consistent all the way through, such as the two previous that we just demonstrated, you're going to have about a 5 to 10 second break in between every repetition, and then you're going to want about a 2 to 3 minute rest or recovery period in between the sets. So here, we're going to go ahead and demonstrate. Again, when we're pushing off, we're going to want that weight in our leg here, and we're going to be reaching and exploding up. Okay, so I reset, I'm going to wait for a couple seconds, and then explode back up. So again, making sure that we're getting that explosive power is what makes it that plyometric drill. Alright, the fourth plyometric drill for the lower body is going to be a depth jump with a 180-degree turn. Now this is a very intense exercise, and so we're going to make sure that we have appropriate recovery time between reps and sets. So same thing as that previous drill, about 5 to 10 seconds between reps, and then we're going to do about 3 minutes of recovery between the actual sets. Now it should be noted that depth jumps can be dangerous and are not appropriate for all levels. So because this water polo team is advanced, the depth jump is appropriate, but it would not be appropriate for children because that stepping off can actually cause more damage to them. One thing to note as well, you need to assess that actual individual athlete, because somebody who weighs, let's say, 150 pounds compared to someone who weighs 250 pounds, that's a lot of pressure, so coming off a higher box could be harmful for someone who is a little bit heavier. But again, we want to assess that individual athlete because maybe they're very advanced and they can basically have that load be okay for them. So we do want to start at a lower platform on the depth jump. So you can see I have about a 12-inch platform in comparison to that previous box that was a little bit higher. Okay, so it is important to make sure that we don't go too high on the depth jump because that can cause too much damage because it's your body weight that's coming down and taking the impact. So why is this appropriate for the water polo team? There was one study that actually performed the depth jump in water, so having that water resistance, and they saw that that power and strength came through for the swimmers, which is again really important for that water polo player because they're swimming most of the game and treading water. A second piece is getting that 180-degree rotation in this exercise, because we're doing a lot of that movement in water polo when we're trying to turn around, get around our opponent. So being able to train that body and that power force to do the 180-degree turn. How we're going to set this up is we're going to be starting on the platform here, standing about shoulder width apart as always. And it's important to note that we're not going to jump off the box and come down, but rather it's going to be a simple step. And as soon as those feet are planted, we're not going to go way down here in a squat. But as soon as those feet hit, it's that amotorization phase that we have to take advantage of in order to get that plyometric training in. We're going to explode and turn 180 degrees, so you're going to be facing that box. Again, really important to make sure that we're not coming really far deep into our squat here. As soon as those feet hit, we're going to explode and turn 180 degrees. So I'll give you a demonstration here. So here we go. Okay, again, higher intensity, obviously the higher the box is, and because this is such a high intensity exercise, having that appropriate recovery time between reps is really important. Okay, so here we're going to now transition into the upper body plyometric drills. Now, the upper body plyometric drills is essential for water polo because we're utilizing the chest, shoulders, and triceps in quite a few of the activities. So the chest is your pectoralis major, is a major group that we're using while we're swimming. And then the shoulder and the triceps are going to be that dominant muscle in throwing and shooting. So it's really important that we incorporate upper body plyometric training for the water polo team. The first exercise that we're going to do is a chest pass. You will need a partner for this, and you'll also need about a 2 pound to 8 pound medicine ball depending on the level of advancement of your athlete. And then again, we can increase that intensity by increasing the weight of the medicine ball. So how we're going to set this up is you're going to make sure that we have our partner about 10 feet away from us, and we're going to stand shoulder width apart, and we're basically going to hold the medicine ball right at our chest. And we're going to have flexed arms, keeping the elbows in close to the body. We don't want to actually have them out here. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically just use our upper body strength to throw the ball to our partner. Our partner is going to catch it, throw it back to us, and it's going to be immediately thrown back. So there's no rest in between. So here we're going to go ahead and demonstrate the chest pass. Again, it's about that explosive power in the arms because that's going to get that chest and the shoulders and the triceps involved for throwing. The second upper body plyometric drill that we're going to be doing is a single arm throw. This is very important compared to, let's say, the chest pass, because in water polo you're always only throwing with one hand. So this is going to help develop that shoulder rotation, and that shoulder rotation is important, especially as we can try to train and build up that shoulder rotation in the water polo player. We can help decrease the risk of injury, which is a very common injury that we see in water polo players and swimmers. So how we're going to set this up, again, we need a partner to be about 10 feet away from us. We're going to use a lighter medicine ball, so anywhere from 1 to 5 pounds, depending on the strength of the athlete. And we're going to stand shoulder width apart, and we will raise our shoulder about 90 degrees and then have that 90-degree bend in our elbow as well. The forearm should be perpendicular with the floor at the starting motion. And then what we're going to do is, as we're getting ready to throw, we're going to basically just cock back our arm just a little bit and then throw to our partner. So we want to make sure that we're keeping that 90 degrees in our shoulder and we're not actually going all the way through. There are benefits to that, and you can actually throw the way you would in sport, which could be a benefit for training as that sport-specific movement. But here we're trying to really get that shoulder rotation power built up, so that's what we're going to go ahead and practice and demo right now. Okay, so again, setting it up, making sure our forearm is perpendicular with the floor, 90 degrees and 90 degrees, a slight cock, and then throw. Our partner's going to throw it back, and we want to catch it with that arm that we threw with, so I didn't mention that earlier. And then again, we want to make sure that it's consistent all the way through as much as possible, and hopefully your partner doesn't actually drop the ball. But that's the premise of the single arm throw. Okay, so the third and final upper body plyometric drill is going to be the power throw. Now, why am I on the ground? Well, because we're going to start on the ground. So I'm going to actually lay down. My partner is going to be standing up on the box. And what she's going to do is she's going to drop the medicine ball to my outstretched arms. I'm going to catch it. So let's see, turn from the side here. If I was laying down, I'm going to catch it, bring it in, and immediately throw it back to her. Again, there's no rest in between the actual repetitions. It's continuous all the way throughout. This is a high intensity upper body. So again, really important to be able to get that power push to be able to throw and increase the velocity of that water polo ball. And then also during shooting, because the faster you can shoot the ball and the more power behind it, the harder it is for goalies to actually defend it. So here we're going to start. My partner is going to be holding that medicine ball. I'm going to lay down here, and I'm going to have my head relatively close, and I'm going to outstretch my arms here, and my partner is going to drop the ball, and then I'm going to throw it immediately back. Okay? Okay, so as you can see, those 3 drills are going to be the upper body plyometric training that are all really important to get that strength and velocity in your shoulder, triceps, and your chest. And additionally, it really helps to lower the injury risk in the shoulders and the elbows, which are common injuries in water polo and swimming. So going to be really beneficial there. Plyometric drills, we're using our core to stabilize, and that's really where the most important piece is in order to get that stability in our core for training aspects. So hopefully that you are able to incorporate this plyometric drill into your sport training for the water polo team, and I can't wait to hear your feedback. Thank you for watching.